When I was a kid, people used to ask me, as they usually ask kids, what do you want to be when you grow up? And there would be a wide smile spread across their lips. And they used to wait. And I would say, I want to be, drum roll, a witch. And I used to see the smile fade. What? Could you repeat that again? You want to be a witch. Who on earth wants to be a witch? W-I-T-C-H. Witch. Yes, I wanted to be a witch when I was a kid. Yes, I wanted to study in the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. I was so obsessed. You must have guessed by now that I'm going to talk about the Harry Potter book series. Now, what exactly I'm going to talk about, I will let you know very shortly. But anyway, I left the people shocked when I said that I wanted to be a witch. It was so difficult to explain to people why I wanted to be a witch. Now that I've grown up so much, I still believe that there's a school out there named Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, and someday, maybe someday, that Hogwarts letter will come from me, and I'm going to study. Truly, I just hope that. So, what is so special about the Harry Potter book series? What is so special? What is so unique about it that has made it sell over 600 million copies across the world? Yes, you've heard it right. 600 million copies across the world. What makes it so unique? I'm not just the only fan. I'm sure there are so many other Potterheads sitting in the audience. I'm sure you know what makes Harry Potter so unique. It has been translated to 88 languages, including ancient Greek. And believe it or not, it is the longest it is the longest piece of work in ancient Greek. So coming back to the uniqueness and specialty of Harry Potter. The educated lot will always tell you to read fairy tales. Read, 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 keep reading. Why? Especially fairy tales, especially fantasy. Why? Because reading fairy tales improves your critical thinking, it improves your imagination, it improves your creativity, it makes you more powerful in terms of your thinking. Albert Einstein once said, if you want to make your children smart, read them fairy tales. If you want to make your children smarter, read them more fairy tales. And I completely agree with him. Look at me. Hello. I've read 400 fairy tales, by the way. Jokes apart. So what is so special about Harry Potter? It belongs to the fantasy genre. Kind of a fairy tale. Yes, I lived a fairy tale life when I was reading Harry Potter as a kid. Even now when I pick up a book and start reading, I can understand the influence it has had on me. Well, it's not just about reading. It's not just about the fantasy, the imagination, the magic. It's not just about that. It also has life lessons to teach us. I'm going to be talking about life lessons that I have learned from the Harry Potter book series. You know, I've been so encouraged, inspired, motivated by the writer, J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, that, I've started writing my own book. Of course, it's not fantasy or magic, but my book is a book of humor. And I have been rejected by 2 publishers till now. So I went to my father and I told him, Father, I've been rejected by 2 publishers. I'm not going to do anything. My father said, oh, come to me when you have been rejected by 12 publishers. Then we will talk. And I understood arguing with him was pointless. Yes, you've heard it right. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers, till the 13th publisher gave her the opportunity and she charted history for us. That is so true. So today we're going to talk about what kind of life lessons we have learned from Harry Potter. Children across the world have learned from Harry Potter. We Potterheads have learned from Harry Potter. If you look at the 3 most prominent characters of Harry Potter, beginning with Harry Potter himself, his best friends, Ronald Weasley and Hermione Granger. you will see that there is so much to learn from each one of them. And not just these three characters. There's so many other characters in Harry Potter. Each one has a message to carry, something to teach you, something to take home. If you begin with the life of Ronald Weasley, Harry Potter's best friend, Ron was not a very bright child. He was average, sometimes below average. But there was something very special about Ron. Ron was extremely loyal, the most loyal friend that he could be. Of course, their friendship was tested over time. But each time he came back to his friend Harry Potter, he never let him go. And that's the specialty of Ronald Weasley. Ron came from a very poor family, in comparison to Harry, who was bequeathed a large fortune by his parents. But, you know what? Harry considered Ron to be richer than him, because Harry did not have a real family, so to speak of. Ron had a big fat family. Coming to Hermione Granger, another best friend of Harry Potter. Hermione taught us that reading can save your life. And it is very true. Reading can actually save your life. When in doubt, go to the library. Whenever you have some trouble, go to the library. The library has all the answers. And I keep telling my students the same thing over and over again, that reading can actually help you develop. It's very true. So what would happen if Hermione did not exist? Some people say that Harry and Ron would have died in the first book itself. So it was Hermione's reading every time that saved them from the trouble. Coming to Harry Potter himself, the protagonist, what do we learn from someone like him? He was not exactly, terribly bright like Hermione. He was not an extremely smart wizard, but he was extremely brave. He was the bravest character I have ever read about. Extremely brave. To face all odds by himself. When there is no one beside you and you have to fight your battles yourself, I still believe that if Harry could battle his demons and defeat them, I can slay my demons too. Whether the demons are within me or out there somewhere, I can fight my demons too. That reminds me of a beautiful line from a beautiful song by our Nobel laureate poet, Rabindranath Tagore, which goes something like this. Jodi tor dakshuni kyun na ashi tabi ekla chalo re tabi ekla chalo re jodi tor dakshuni kyun na ashi tabi ekla chalo re. The meaning is, if there is no one with you, if nobody listens to you, if there is no one with you on the lonely path to success, you better walk alone. You take the walk alone. You fight your battles alone. Nobody will be there with you. In the school, there are teachers to guide you. Your parents are there, always to support you. But once you're out there in the world, you have to fight your battles alone. Nobody will be there. And you have to show that, yes, I can do it. That is what I learned from Harry Potter. Now, coming to the other characters, Harry Potter's bravery reminds me of yet another character, Neville Longbottom. Neville Longbottom taught us that courage is more important than self-confidence. There is a very thin line between courage and self-confidence. Self-confidence may be about, boasting about yourself and telling people, oh yes, I can do that, I can do this. I am very smart. But when it really matters, what you have to show is not self-confidence, but courage. That also brings me to yet another professor at Hogwarts who used to proudly announce his name once he entered class. He used to say something like this, "My name is Professor Gilderoy Lockhart." So he was so proud of himself, the confidence that he carried. But when it really mattered, he couldn't perform the simplest of magic. But when it mattered, Neville Longbottom, who lived an entire life thinking that he would never be a good wizard, he would never be successful, he showed exemplary courage. And that was more important. And that is what Neville Longbottom taught me. Courage, more important than self-confidence. Yet another character that I have been inspired by is this lady over here, Luna Lovegood. The way she's dressed is very unique. She is very unique, and people have made fun of her because of the way she dresses, because of the way she, behaves. She's different from the rest. In fact, her friends call her Loony, and trust me, Loony is not a very nice name. So believing in yourself and not going by what others think of you is more important. Luna Lovegood taught me that. Again, coming to yet another character who taught me that appearances can be deceptive and don't ever, ever judge a book by its cover. That character is Rubeus Hagrid, the keeper of keys and the games teacher at Hogwarts. Hagrid. He was a half giant. He lived his entire life ostracized by the society. He lived his entire life as an outcast. It was so sad. And yet, despite the huge, mighty figure that he had, you would be scared of him. Oh my God, look at him, he's so tall, so massive. Yet, Hagrid had the heart of cheese. He was very kind to everyone. He chose to be kind. So appearances can really be deceptive. You cannot judge a book by its cover. You cannot say just because somebody is big or somebody is short or somebody is tall, somebody is dark, somebody is fair. You cannot judge a person's character depending on how they look. Hagrid taught me that. Hagrid also taught me to be kind to animals. I've always been kind to animals, but he just reconfirmed my faith that, we are not the only species here on this earth. We share this earth with other wonderful creatures, be it animals or birds or insects or fishes or whatever. All the living beings out there in the world, we share this earth with them. That is what Rubeus Hagrid taught me. Coming to yet another wonderful but extremely complex character, Severus Snape. The name itself is, gives you that feeling that, he's severe. Severus Snape, Professor Snape. Professor Snape always came off as someone who you would be afraid of. I mean, you would relate your most hated teacher with Professor Snape. The first 6 books of the Harry Potter series, I used to loathe Professor Snape. I did not like him because he was extra rude to Harry Potter. But by the 7th book, by the end of the 7th book, I realized that he had been a hero all along. And whatever problems, whatever dangers Harry faced, Professor Snape was there, subtly protecting him. And we did not even realize that. So there was a very small story behind it. Professor Snape, when he was a kid, was Harry's mom's classmate. And he was in love with Harry's mom. Unfortunately, she did not love him back. She loved somebody else, she got married to someone else, and he lived an entire life loving her, not getting married. He lived alone. So when Harry's mom died, Professor Snape pledged to protect Harry till his last breath. And trust me when I say this, he did protect Harry till his last breath. Coming to another character that I totally find a lot of inspiration from is Professor Dumbledore. He is the headmaster of the Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Professor Dumbledore taught me a lot of lessons. There are a lot of things that I have learned from him. One of them is happiness can be found in the darkest of times if one remembers to turn on the light. It is very important to remember these words, and they are important. He also taught me one thing, that guiding students is a good thing. Spoon-feeding them is not a very good thing. So he let Harry face the dangers, face the consequences of his own actions. He let Harry face all kinds of trouble and problem. He did not himself go and protect him or save Harry from the dangers that he confronted. He let Harry experience it on his own. When I was a kid, I used to be so angry with Professor Dumbledore. You are such a great wizard. You consider yourself to be, everybody thinks that you are the greatest wizard of all. Why can't you go and save Harry Potter? Why can't you help him? He's in deep trouble. He's facing dangers. He's almost losing his life out there. Why can't you help him? Why aren't you there? I mean, you can magically disappear. You can do whatever you want. Why aren't you there? Now when I've grown up and I go back to the books again, I realize that yes, he guided Harry when he required it. When Harry required lessons from him, he did guide him. But Harry had to face his battles alone. So that is what I tell my students. We will be there to guide you always, but you have to fight your battles alone. As a teacher, I have learned so much that I can transmit to my students. So many life lessons from Harry Potter. Last but not the least, J.K. Rowling, the writer herself. She has faced a lot of struggles in life. She has had to go through rejections. But she was undaunted in the face of all odds. She had struggled very hard, trust me. But, you know, her parents wanted her to take up the science stream. She did not. She wanted to study literature always. So she studied Greek classics and she wanted to write. All she wanted to do ever was write. So she took up writing, she got rejected, but she kept on and on, she didn't stop. She could have been, an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or a teacher or a professor, but she didn't choose the mainstream. She wanted to be a writer, and she became one of the most celebrated writers of the 21st century. So that reminds me that if you want to be a dancer or a singer or a sports person, don't stop yourself. Don't stop believing in yourself. Yes, I can do it. Nothing, no one, not even me, myself, not even I can stop myself. Never do that. Always believe in yourself and your dreams. Your dreams are more powerful than anything else in the world. If you believe, yes, you can do it. I would like to conclude with the last verse of a beautiful poem written by Robert Frost. Somewhere, ages and ages hence, I shall be telling this with a sigh. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by. And that has made all the difference. Thank you. Thank you so much.